All right, what's going on, everyone? Coach Jake here with the coach's version of Dream Talk. So I'm excited to get into this kind of stuff. Where Albert and I are doing a couple different things here. We're both excited about one of them being talking to some players, but I thought it'd be cool as well to get a coach's perspective, just to give like both sides of it and get the flip side. So today, welcoming Coach Tanner Gooden. What's going on, Tanner?
What's up, Jake? Thanks for having me, man. I'm excited to be here, talk with you a little bit, hopefully the message gets out to the kids. Have some fun today and talk some basketball.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, that's going to be a huge issue for us.
Yeah, yeah. We're not real good at it. We haven't done this once or twice.
Right. All right. Well, let's get right into it here, Tanner. If you don't mind, let's just go through kind of your story, where you played at so far, and then where you've coached and where you're at now.
Okay, so we'll take it back. We'll start in high school because nothing before that really matters, I guess. So high school, played basketball at DuBois Area High School, 2008 to 2012. Had some real good success there. We had real good teams, good coaching staff. Won DuBois' first league title and district title in like 20 years. Don't quote me on 20, but it was around 20 years. It seemed like forever. And, ever since then, the program's had good success. Recently, they've had a coaching change. He's doing phenomenal with them. Great group of kids there. So things are looking up for DuBois High School. After high school, I went to Penn State DuBois first. Decided it wasn't a good fit for me. Went to Mount Aloysius. Hated it there. And then Dave Bennett brought me back to Penn State DuBois. So that's where I was. Played the second half of the season there. Next season, broke my leg early in the season. Had to miss the whole season. Next summer, ready to come back. Tore my ACL. Playing career over. That's where coaching started. So, maybe the injury was a blessing,
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So, as far as your coaching career, then, I know you started in DuBois, right back at the high school, right?
Right. So after I tore my knee up, I knew playing wasn't going to happen, and you got to move on eventually. So I reached out to Scott Creighton, who was the coach at DuBois at the time. Real great guy. Asked if he had anything open for me. He said, "How about a JV job?" So right away, I got thrown in as the head coach of a JV team. Way over my head. Everyone thinks they're going to know what you're going to do when you coach, but until you get there, you don't really know. So I spent 3 years at DuBois High School, 3 years as varsity assistant and JV coach, and then 2 of those seasons I actually did the freshman team as well. So a lot going on. Scott Creighton, I can never thank him enough. Yeah, trusted me, gave me a good start. After that, spent 1 season with you and Coach Dillon and Ray and Slimmer, Penn State DuBois. I think you can agree that was an interesting season, kind of rough when you don't win and things don't play out how you expect. And then currently, I'm up at Bradford with a great group of guys, Coach Brian Hobbs, Coach Jerry, fun group, So that's what's happening now in District 9 again, excited to keep it rolling.
Yeah, man, that's one of the great things about you as a coach is like you just have such a wide variety of levels there. So you started in JV, you went to college, and now you're back at a high school program. So you kind of have seen all sides of the perspective there.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. One of my roles here, I'm also the 8th grade coach, and I'll tell you, 8th grade basketball is the most challenging thing to me. Kids are at such a weird age. Some of them are men already, and some of them are 4'2" and squirrely, and haven't gone through their life changes yet. So 8th grade, it's by far the biggest challenge, more than college. Managing adult personalities, and more than high school, where it's more about like winning, getting the kids to college, that kind of thing. So it's really interesting.
Yeah, so that's actually where, I was going to take this next was, what are the big differences? I know you just covered a little bit there, but, between the JV level, the high school level, and then the college level, not only in, the the form of coaching style,
Mhm.
but also like how programs are ran, and just like to the kids. Like if I'm a kid coming up through and I'm in JV now, what can I
Mm.
expect moving into my high school season and my college season?
Sure. So JV, I think people in our area, District 9 area, look down on JV a little bit. And I think that's really, to a fault of the cultures. JV is a great opportunity to develop your young talent. And then for the older kids that maybe aren't as good at basketball, that's a great opportunity for them to have fun, make memories that, this is their last chance to get maybe. Maybe they're not going to be a college athlete. So JV basketball to me, it depends year to year who you have. If you have a great group of young guys, you want to develop them and win. If you have a little older group that's not as good, you just want to make it fun for them. So that's JV. And like I said, that'll change every year. Um, High school varsity, you want to win. You want to win. You want to compete. You want to do all the stuff you can to prepare to win, like your league championship, your district championship. And then for some kids, you want to get them to college, whether that's JUCO, community college, D1, D2, wherever they're going. So you have to prepare the kids for that. And then college, as an assistant, I didn't get to recruit kids. So basically college, my experience was you just have to manage the personalities that are there, and just try to piece it together. But I'm sure you have more insight, in, ooh, you hear that?
Nope, think you're good.
I'm hearing some crazy buzzing on this end. Hold on. Okay.
Good.
Yep. Good here. Okay. But I'm sure you have more insight on the college end, being as you're still doing it.
Yeah, it's so interesting to see, like you're saying, how different programs are ran, and just coaches' philosophies, and just meshing it all together. Chasing trophies, man.
Yeah.
That's the great part.
Mhm.
So I guess just moving into the next thing here, from what you have experienced with your older kids that are preparing to go to college, whether they're playing basketball or not, and then your college athletes, what do you think is, I'm sure there's way more than one, but if you could bring it to one or two, what do you think that the kids are most lacking?
That's a great question. So lacking, every kid now can dribble and shoot, that stuff they work on. But I think once you really get down to it, um, they're really lacking in their film study. You know, they have so many tools available to them. Everything now is film. Everything's recorded from multiple angles by multiple people, analyzed by everyone. And it seems like they don't take advantage of it. They're just looking for their highlight, the ankle breaker, the deep three in someone's mug, something like that. When really, if they sat and broke it down, they could really excel and get some advantages. I'm sure you've had this situation. You talk to a kid, you're like, what'd you do to improve this off season? They're like, ball handling, shooting. And they're like, did you watch film? They're like, well, yeah, I watched film. And you ask them what they learned from it, and they're just like, they freeze. They don't have an answer. So learning how to watch film is the biggest key and the biggest lack of thing I've seen at all levels, even in college.
So to a kid that is, a ninth or 10th grade kid right now, maybe he's in that JV level and he's preparing for varsity and for college, or a high school kid who's getting ready to go to college.
Mm-hmm.
What is your advice on how to learn to watch film if you don't have, a mentor sitting down showing you?
Sure. So if you're a JV level, watch the better high school players, someone at your position, and if they're doing something right, coach is always praising them. Figure out why, because sometimes it's not always obvious. Kids think coaches are playing favorite, something like that, when really there's a reason for it. There's a reason everyone gets the minutes they do. So pick up those pieces, watch your position, and offer input. Maybe when coach is going over scouting report, he missed something that you picked up on, someone's tendency or something. So just, things like that can really go a long way, especially for those younger kids.
Yeah, I think that One of the things that has helped me a lot is picking out a favorite player in the NBA and just watching full games of only watching that player. You know,
Mm-hmm.
just really breaking down what he's doing, his footwork, trying to decipher his thought processes, things like that. So, yeah, no doubt. But I definitely
Yeah.
agree, man. That film is like that's where your IQ comes from. That's where
Mm-hmm.
fundamental basketball player is really going to succeed in that aspect.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah, no doubt. So, um, another tough one here, but from a recruiting standpoint, you mentioned that you didn't get too much of an opportunity. I know you were at Penn State for a short amount of time there, but from your perspective and a recruiting aspect, if you could narrow it down to one attribute in a kid that you're recruiting, he has to have this, and if he doesn't have this, thanks but no thanks type of deal. What do you think you could say as far as an aspect in a player?
I'm gonna go a little outside the box and for that one, and I'm gonna look at their grade point average. Most people don't think about that when college coaches are looking at it, but if you're struggling in high school, if you have like a 2.0, 2.5, and you're not a 3.0 or above, that's really going to make me question, your work ethic, your sustainability to my program. So that's something huge for me. I don't know if kids really are thinking about it. They're just thinking about putting the ball in the hoop, and that is important. But at some point you got to get the grades too, because basketball is going to end for all of us.
Right, right. And like you said, it's just so much bigger than, the grade itself. To
Mm-hmm.
a coach, for a player to show you, hey, man, not only can this kid play, but he's also disciplined. He's
Mm-hmm.
also holds himself accountable and he gets good grades. It's
Yeah.
not just about, oh, he's good at English. It's more
Mm-hmm.
so the behind the scenes of, okay, he's doing what he needs to do to succeed. So,
Yeah, exactly.
gotcha. Yeah, I mean that's a huge factor for a ton of kids. I know that going back to even my high school and even college days, you got to hit the books, man. Got to hit
Oh,
the
yeah.
books. So again, kind of just some more open-ended questions, but what would you, if you had to define or talk about intangible, in basketball, you have your tangible aspects and your intangibles. If you wouldn't mind, just kind of break down intangibles and what those are, and maybe, how a kid can learn to develop some of those.
Sure. So for me, intangibles, and correct me if I'm wrong on this definition, is something that doesn't show up on the stat sheet but still affects the game. Would you agree that's kind of what we're getting to?
Yeah, yeah. I think I always said, intangibles are not physical aspects.
Yeah.
That's a great
So
way to see it.
so something you can work on no matter your skill level is leadership. And I was listening to a coach's clinic just a couple weeks ago, and the coach asked the question, "How much time did you spend on leadership this past season?" And no one had a definite answer. Like if you go back through your practice plan, you know how much time you spend on the court, you know how much time you spend in the weight room, but you don't chart how much time you spend on leadership. So spending time on that is very important, and it's going to be different for everyone. Maybe leadership in one team is, having a team meeting or having a team huddle between drills or something. It doesn't have to be big, but leadership is something anyone can have. I'm sure you've been on teams where the best player wasn't a good leader, so that's something anyone can do. Another one's just hard work, and I think that's going to be a common theme. If you ask anyone this question, it's going to be hard work. Who's the kid that's going to dive on the floor? Who's the kid that's going to be on the bench cheering his teammates? Just that type of thing.
Yeah, man. I know that in the time that we've coached together, I'm sure it's been stated more than once, but some days you have bad shooting days. Some days, the ball just doesn't feel right, but you can always give 100% effort.
Always. No excuse not to, right?
Exactly. Got to be able to defend, man.
Yeah.
That's great. So just the last couple of things here, and then we'll just kind of open it up if you want to close with anything. But Where you're at now,
Mhm.
going through all of your playing careers, all of your coaching careers, all of the experience, if you could tell yourself as a ninth grade player or eighth to 10th grade, and you could give yourself one piece of advice that you know now that you might not have known back then, what do you think it would be?
Man, that's tough. So I would want to tell myself, I would want to give myself the understanding that going away from home is okay. I was kind of always more of a hometown kid. I didn't want to go away far for school. Now looking back, I'm like, man, I wish I would have, explored options out of state, maybe across the country, to have those experiences. Because in my adult life, I've had those experiences and I've learned so much from it. And if I could have just started that process earlier, I think as a person, I would be even better, more mature than I am now.
Yeah, that is a good one, man. Especially, I don't know if it's this area type thing as well. Being in the D9, more of a small town area, but you just get connected to your friends, and it's
Hmm.
tough to let go of that. And, expand out there and be uncomfortable with it.
Hmm.
No, that's great advice. That's something that's uncommon too. I'm sure there's not a lot of kids sitting at home like, yeah, I need to go out and expand my horizons.
Right. Yeah.
Everybody just focuses on the dribbling and the shooting, which is very important. There's just so much more to it.
Right. Yeah. Basketball, it prepares you for life. The connections you make now are the connections you're going to have your whole life. So who knows? Maybe you go to, let's say, California for an extreme example, and you make all kinds of connections that can lead into a job, that can lead into relationships. You can set your whole life up just by taking a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's connections are huge, especially like you were saying from the recruiting aspect. Around with how prevalent the internet is anymore. It's like almost a washed market as far as game film.
Yeah.
So, if you are a kid in this area and you want to get noticed, being having those connections and having those references is going to weigh way more than how many points you're scoring in the district.
Mhm.
Okay. So last one here from me, and this kind of ties into the last thing. But if you could give advice to a kid right now,
Mhm.
any level, high school, college, JV, does the advice differ between your college kids, your high school kids, and your JV kids? And if it does, what advice are you giving to the groups?
I can kind of keep it similar for everyone. So, to the JV and high school kids, use social media to help you get where you want to be. There's so much exposure now. There's so many people looking at everything. You mentioned how washed the market is with game film, but again, everyone has that game film. Send it to coaches. Maybe you get told no 300 times, but that one time you get told yes, it makes it all worth it. And then to the college kids, you're already where you're going to be. Be careful what you're putting out there. College life, you can make some bad decisions. And once you put on the internet, it is forever. So it's okay to have fun sometimes as long as you're responsible. But for those college kids, you got to be smart because everyone's looking.
And last thing here, just to emphasize it, Coach, how important is it for these players to be putting in just consistent work?
Oh yeah, it's a nonstop process. Like as soon as you quit working, someone else is. Right now it's a little tough for some people. Country's locked down, no gyms, not everyone has access to a driveway hoop, but everyone can go out for a run. Everyone can watch game film, everyone can be doing something. So there's always a way to improve yourself. There's no excuses.
Yep, that's exactly it, man. It's consistency over time. It's
Yep.
a building process and it's gradual.
Yep.
You have to love it.
Oh, you have to love it. If you don't love it, what are you doing? You're just wasting your own time.
That's true. That's exactly it. But, well, Coach, Coach has had a very successful, not only playing career, but a coaching career. Can't wait to see where it takes him. He just keeps jumping around, going to different places here. So hopefully he gets pulled up to the big leagues here soon.
Yeah.
Coach, definitely appreciate having you on here. Appreciate your insight. A lot of the stuff you gave us, stuff that not a lot of younger kids are thinking about. I know I wasn't thinking about that when I was younger, but it's great to have you on. It's great to have your insight. And wish you the best.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. Hope we can do this again sometime. If not on film, I'm sure we'll just do it in our regular lives.
No doubt about that. Like we said, talking basketball is not an issue for us.
That's right. That's what we do.
All right. Well, for everybody else, definitely appreciate you guys joining Coach Gooden and I. Just a quick shout out here to Bradford Owls on their last season, making it to the district championship. So congratulations about that. Again, wishing you future success. Coach Gooden has actually helped out with our AAU program as well. So, he's tied right into this whole thing. We love having him around, love having his insight and his knowledge. And I'm sure you'll be hearing from both of us soon. So, Coach, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, dream big.
Dream big.